Hello, thank you for joining me. I'm at Heystel, the end of Brussels tram route 7. Towering above the tram stop is probably one of the most famous sites in Brussels, the Atomium. But it's not that I've come here to see. I have been in that years ago, and maybe one day I'll do it again. But the reason I've come here today is just because just below the Atomium is Mini Europe, a model village which, as the name suggests, has buildings from all over Europe. That's what I'm going to go and see. So here we are, we have entered Mini Europe. I'm currently looking down on the port of Antwerp, and the way it works is you've got various buildings from each EU country. So what we'll do, we'll walk around and we're basically going to go on a tour of the whole of Europe. Towering above us, and it will keep being the backdrop, is the Atomium. That is not a model, that is the real Atomium. First model you see is the EU Parliament building. So we must be in Belgium. I'm just going to go past here, and we get to down here, and it looks like we're looking across the channel. It might not be geographically accurate because I didn't know Bath was on the English Channel, but anyway, I'm not going to criticise the layout. It's buildings from around Europe. Some of them the most well-known buildings, and they're spaced out around this area, but you get sort of England, I can see what looks like Ireland down there, France, etc. All the EU countries. So although that said, of course, England isn't in the EU anymore, but I think at the time this was built, England, Great Britain was in the EU. So for that reason, I don't think we're going to see anything from Switzerland here today, or not Sweden, it's Norway, that's what I'm thinking of. Looking across at Ireland, somewhere I'd like to visit. Well, actually, probably I'd like to visit most places in real life that we're going to see today, and some of them I have visited, but somewhere in Ireland I haven't visited, the Rock of Cashel. It's like a ruined abbey up on a hill. I've not yet been there. This part of there's not really much model village, it's more gardens. Maybe this is in case European Union ever expands. Maybe one day, I don't know, say if Bosnia or Serbia joins the EU, we'll see Sarajevo and Belgrade, although is it a good idea to put those two next to each other, I don't know. But no, I'm not going to be political in this video, we're just going to enjoy seeing. And another thing I really like is you know, you get all the waterways, how it all works, you know, the water's had to be pumped around. I find the logistics of running a place like this quite interesting. We seem to have come across a great big oil rig, look at that. And a lot of the models are working, which, you know, adds to the interest we're going to see. That's a working oil rig, and I think that must be the Netherlands over there, because I can see a load of windmills going around. Yeah, you can see there's on the oil rig, see the cranes are moving. So you know, it's a working model village. Oh, there's a train coming. That's what always makes it exciting for me. I'm going to do another video of all the working models without me talking. But here comes a train. It looks like a Siemens Taurus. It's two Siemens Tauruses, and they're top and tailing an overnight sleeper train running along the railway line along here. There are fish in the lake. There's a big fish down there. That's a real fish, that's not a model. Walking along here, I'm not too sure whether that's still part of the Netherlands. Some people still call Netherlands Holland, but Holland's only part of the Netherlands. Holland isn't all of the Netherlands. I was talking to someone the other day, they're talking about the Netherlands, and the town they mentioned, I said, they're talking about Holland. I said, that town isn't in Holland. That's like calling the whole, basically to call the Netherlands Holland is like calling the whole of England Yorkshire. Right, so we're just going to walk behind these hedges, and we'll find some more models to have a look at, and I think then we'll really get into the theme of seeing different models from around Europe, and we will get a better look at England and Ireland when we get up there. We just haven't seen that bit yet. There's a very Viking looking settlement, so I think we must be Denmark. Looking how Viking, in fact I know this is Denmark because I recognise it. I've walked along there in real life. So this is wonderful, wonderful Copenhagen. And then on the other side of the path, Sweden, Stockholm. And I was in Stockholm last year. I had fun riding the trams there and looking around. Back to Sweden on that side. Up here, there's this is Finland. the big castle over here. And there's quite a lot of boats that go around as well, which is quite interesting to see. It's not just trains that go around, and it's also interactive. You can do things. If you press this button, watch what happens. That topless woman has just jumped into the water, and she's now swimming under there. Now she's gonna, yeah, and she did just come back up again. That's the thing. It's not working. Oh, there we go. There she goes into the water. We now have Estonia. Again, it does look a bit incongruous with the Atomium in the background, but ignore that. This is Estonia, this is Tallinn. In fact, both of these countries, Estonia and Finland, are two countries I haven't yet visited. I do intend to visit both of them. Just work my way around these people. So this is Tallinn. Oh, actually no, that was Tallinn there. This is now Vilnius. So I have been to Vilnius, nice city. So we're in Lithuania now. There's a lorry going around. So I've not been to Estonia, but I have been to Lithuania and I have been to Latvia. A huge church, it's pretty big and impressive. And then over there is the back of Copenhagen. Not too sure which country this is. Possibly France or Belgium, maybe. Actually, no, I recognise something. That building's what I think it is. I walked past the real one this morning. I think this is Liège. Well, I went to see the new tramway, which hasn't opened yet. Yeah, this is Liège, and I actually walked past that building this morning. And I did see some similar big barges going along the river in real life. So I can only guess that that castle is also in Belgium. I'm just going to backtrack to here to look at this. Just trying to work out which... Oh, this is the Netherlands again, yeah, of course. So we saw the other end of the Netherlands. Here we have a bit more of the Netherlands. Some castle here, Netherlands. And then there's this town here, or village actually. So that's the Netherlands. There's more Netherlands over there, but we're going to just do this path round here, going back to... We are literally going to hop from country to country as it suits, also as I sort of generally dodge other visitors. So we get through here, and there's still some pleasure boats going along. I'm not sure that's how you say it. It's worth a visit though. It's got a cable car and a big church. Admittedly, I don't know what all of these buildings are, but the ones I do know, you know, I'll point out, and some of them you may be able to help me in the comments and point out, if I say I don't know one of them. It's quite a famous one, and not far from where we are. It's Brussels. In fact, if we go up here, there's lots of little paths you can go sort of higher and get different views there. Anyway, that's the main square in Brussels. It's probably the most appropriate one to have the Atomium in the background. You can just see down below it though, Big Ben. We'll get to that later. We're now going from Brussels to the Netherlands, Middelburg, and then I think I recognise the next place, which is in the Netherlands. This one here, now I've done videos on this. See all that cheese? That's the cheese market in Alkmaar in the Netherlands. I've been there with Rail Trail Tours when I've taken a group there as a tour manager. We've stayed in Alkmaar, so I've taken a group to see the cheese market, and we've done things like the Keukenhof and various other things in that part of the world. Alkmaar's a great city. I really like Alkmaar. This is more Dutch buildings. You've got a rural Dutch village. And then of course this is Amsterdam, which again I've been to on that same tour I've just said about. I think we might be it's the same railway line we saw earlier on, but so you got the windmills and then there's that Siemens Taurus. Anything I'll say about the railways is, although it's good to see them, it's not like a complex system. It seems to be trains simply going up and down or round and round. Whilst if you go to other model villages, those of you who watch my videos will know I've done numerous model villages at Beaconscott. There they've got an actual complete model railway, you know, a network with a main line and a branch line. It seems here the trains simply go up and down. So they make nice cameos, but as an actual system, it's to me not so interesting. There's another train going along there, Dutch livered train. The other thing, this is me being a sort of typical critical railway enthusiast that most of these normal people here aren't going to even notice. But the trains aren't really necessarily accurate. But interestingly, they're in maybe the accurate liveries. So there, we've got a train in the Dutch Railways liveries, but it's two rabbits, two German Class 218 stop and tailing some carriages. To see those windmills, what you can actually do, there's other people doing it, but if you turn the windmills, you turn them and then see they start pumping water, and you just see the water coming out of there. So it's all quite interactive, which is good fun. We're now walking around the back of Amsterdam.
Okay.
And we're going to go to, no, we're going to go this way. I'm trying to do it in, oh, here we have all the trenches, or should I say the Flanders fields, the graves, and then there you are, there's the trenches. And then we move on up to here. Now, which town is this? Is this? Oh, this is Antwerp, so we are in Belgium. And there's a fountain going on there. Seems pushing this button sets off the fountain. Never been to Antwerp, but somewhere else I would like to visit one day and ride its trams. Another place I'd also like to visit and ride the trams is Ghent. And maybe have a boat ride. And then of course Bruges, probably one of the most well-known places to visit in Belgium. Just one final thing on the Flanders fields. A nice touch I think is the poppy, having the poppy there. I think that's a really nice thing to add. You know what I was saying about the railway? Well, that one we keep seeing, look, here come those two Dutch rabbits, as I'm going to call them. And then there's the Taurus. Oh, actually there are buffers just down there, but it looks like at night they stick them under the path. But it doesn't look like this goes anywhere to join up with the rest of the railway. So two trains go up and down. It looks like there could have been a third one. Oh, yeah, the Tauruses are going now. And now it says customs because it's UK, I suppose, because we're not in the EU anymore. Here we are. Yeah, look, it actually says, see, look, it tells you each country and the year they joined the EU, and in our case the year we left the EU. But what a fantastic model of the Thames and the House of Parliament. Just a shame the current people in there today are a bit stupid, but anyway, I said I wasn't going to make this a political video. So moving swiftly on from that, let's just enjoy the building. And there's a train. I think this is meant to be the British trains, but again it's a Siemens Taurus, which we don't actually have in the UK. But we'll have a look at that in a minute. We'll just do Ireland. Here we are, look, the Rock of Cashel, which I was telling you about. There it is, up there on its rock. You can see some Irish towers. Oh, and then look, here we have some very English buildings. Got Stratford-upon-Avon, Shakespeare's birthplace, Anne Hathaway's cottage. And the train has just disappeared off up there. It is a brilliant model of Big Ben, though. Look at it. And then, somewhere else I have been, Longleat, which is of course the country house, now a zoo. Does have a narrow gauge railway or miniature railway, 15-inch over between two. I'll have to go there and do a video on that one day. Cotswolds, and yeah, Ireland's still over there. And I think we found Bath. This is the Royal Crescent in Bath. We'll around the back of it, we'll go around the front of it, and we'll have a proper look at the Royal Crescent in Bath. There we go, look at that, that's another great model. Look at these, there's in the sea here, look, these fish. I think they're carp, I'm no expert on fishing. There's a big ship on the ferries that ply the channel, ply the Dover. And then some of these buttons will set that noise off. And then look here, there's some stuff going on in the loft of this crescent as well. I've just set them off. So we're going to leave, as I say, it seems funny seeing the English Channel and Bath that close, because Bath isn't really that close to the English Channel. But what the English Channel is close to is Dover. And here is Dover Castle, somewhere else I've not actually visited. And of course there's the Eiffel Tower in the background, which is a little bit further away. And this is Dover, English Heritage Castle. Seems funny seeing the English Heritage flag when we're in Belgium. There's a Canada Goose over there. Not that that's meant to be Canada's representation here. You should generally see Canada geese in Europe. The waters work their way off down there. That must be the Channel Tunnel down there, because I can see some railway going underneath it. So we'll go down and have a look at that. From this angle here though, we get a good view of the two crescents of Bath. And I can hear a train. Oh, it's a TGV, or a Thalys, or Eurostars they're called now. So, as I said, there's various different railway systems, trains going around, trains going up and down, but it's not like, say, Bekonscot, where it's one big model railway and you can sort of send any train anywhere. I know, because I've spent a lot of time at Bekonscot. There's always a train in England. Oh, that's funny, it says East Coast on it. I don't know if you remember, East Coast they ran the East Coast Main Line. They were the government operation after Virgin Trains East Coast. No, it was before Virgin Trains East Coast. It was after National Express handed back the keys. There was an operator called East Coast. It was, you know, a nationalised operator. Then it came Virgin, and now of course it's LNER. So as I was saying, the Channel Tunnel is, well, we'll go back to Dover Castle. I will, admittedly in this video, I will keep getting distracted by trains. Look down here and down there. That must be the Channel Tunnel. Obviously a lot shorter than the real one. So yeah, let's see, it says customs again. So I think we're leaving. Yeah, look, see how they've painted UK, EU. So I'm now crossing back into Europe. Probably one time I'd get away without doing it, without showing my passport. And we're just looking that way. I want to see the other train. There was another train coming. I'm hoping it's going to come along and pass through the Channel Tunnel. Oh, the East Coast one's coming back. We'll sit down here and watch it go by. So it's quite funny seeing a Siemens Taurus, because we never had them in Great Britain. But you know, like I say, it's all interpretation. I do like the idea though, that East Coast would have had a couple of Siemens Tauruses and just run some shorter trains, maybe I don't know, on a shuttle and try. Oh, there's another one. Oh, this is funny. Look, there's another one coming down, and this one is in LNER livery, the current incumbent of today's East Coast Main Line. I'll watch you see that pass through Channel Tunnel. It'd be like if LNER did say a service from, like, I don't know, Leeds to Bradford, just of 2 coaches, and had a Siemens Taurus. That'd be fun. Certainly get loco bashers out. I think that music can only mean one thing. We're in France now, having crossed the channel, and can't exactly mistake the Eiffel Tower. I remember there used to be like a little, not so much model village, but a full part. There used to be a circle of buildings from around Europe, and they had an Eiffel Tower that was about 30 feet high, and there were various other ones. I think there was Nelson's Column, etc. Here's one of the more modern buildings in Paris, the Pompidou Centre. I've never actually been there. I always used to think when I was little, it looked like a giant hamster cage with those kind of tunnels. And then we get to here, another famous building of Paris, the Arc de Triomphe. And if you look at it closely, it's really, you know, normally you don't get a look at it. It's like, I feel like I'm a drone now. You just sort of scan it. I have to say I don't know Paris that well. It's not a city I've spent a lot of time in. Usually I'm passing through there on my way to places like Switzerland and Germany. But one time when I was in Paris, I had a bit of time to wait for my Eurostar. I'm not very good at sitting still. So I walked to the Sacré-Cœur in Paris, and see, there's a funicular. That was my reason going. I didn't actually go in the Sacré-Cœur itself. I just wanted to ride on the funicular, and I did make a video. I haven't published it at the time of filming this, but it will be a video on my channel. I didn't go in it. It was a really hot day. It was about 30 degrees. I dragged my luggage all the way there, went up, had a look at the view, and came back down again. And I thought, I'm never doing that again with luggage. Not that it's a bad experience. It was just blooming hard work. Talking of travel, but not rail travel, air travel. We have an aeroplane taxiing. I don't know if it's actually going to take off. I can hear like a rumbling sound. I think they're taxiing round and round. You can see some other aeroplanes caught in the background. We'll get a closer look when we're over there. Concorde, one of the most iconic aeroplanes ever. It's one thing I wish I'd done, is to fly on Concorde. I've been in various Concordes at various museums, but it's something nice to do that I probably won't ever get to fly on Concorde. We're now, having not come up on the funicular, but having come up on foot, we've come to the top of the Sacré-Cœur in Paris. While we're up here, we get a view over towards Germany. Now it's like Hungary in the background, so we'll look forward to seeing Hungary, and then looking back across here, looking west from Paris across to London, and of course the running thing that the television's always going to be in the background. There's Sacré-Cœur again. And there's all the steps. So if you visit the Sacré-Cœur, you can either go up and down the steps or go on the funicular. Like I say, there will be a video coming on my YouTube channel at some point. Another building I've always been fascinated by ever since I was a child, but I've never been able to visit it yet. It's Notre Dame de Haut. It's a church, very unusual church. I've just always been fascinated by it. Somewhere I'd love to visit one day. Can we continue on up here? So a bit more France is in the Arc de Triomphe, Pompidou Centre, Eiffel Tower, and there's some more railway lines here. I think this is the one we saw the TGV rushing round on. There's some more track down there. That might be where the two UK trains, the LNER and East Coast, were going to. It seems we're still in France though. I mean, France is one of the biggest countries in Europe. Probably the biggest in the EU, because this still seems to be France. I want to see that TGV come round again. It goes really fast. Is that coming? So, I don't think I have to wait long. There we go. It goes under the path, and then it goes off around there. Around there, and you see some trains in the background going to and from the docks. So that was where we started, up there. Well, that bloke's running along, that's where I started once I came into the village. Oh, there's a goods train. More rabbits, locos, going backwards and forwards, pushing wagons around. Oh look, and that was moving around for lifting containers. It's actually got a container. That TGV would be back along. I want to watch it again, because that boy, I don't think he meant to, but he seems to get right in the way. There it is. That's going pretty fast from Water Train. French chateau, probably one of the most famous French chateaus. And then On the other side is Portugal. I've seen that tower in Lisbon when I visited Lisbon. So this is the, just cross the railway line. That's where that TGV keeps rushing round and round. So I think this must be Portugal. I'm going to go around, it's a bit crowded that way. So I'm going to go up here and sort of go back on myself. So let's have a look over here. That looks very Portuguese looking down there. Oh, and above us, look. Hot air balloon. I just did that bit backwards. There's the tower in Lisbon. There's another train. TGV that we keep seeing, another train just stopped up there. And I think now we're going to go from Portugal to Spain, which would be logical because the two are next to each other. But huge building here, which I think must be in Spain. Oh, really, it's massive. To be honest, I don't, yeah, it says we're in Spain. Look. Perhaps when you press it, it sets off the national anthem, maybe. We always get people at model villages who have to go off the path. That always annoys me. Why people can't stay on the paths? You know, I'd love to go there and have a better view, but you know, you're not supposed to do that anyway. We're in Spain. Look at this building, it's pretty amazing. Well, there's a goods train going along, we'll watch that now in Spain, look. Locos pushing some wagons, past some windmills. It would be really fun though to actually go and visit every one of these places. It might take a year or so, but you know, I mean, even the amount, I'll travel as much as I can, but I don't travel enough to visit all these places. So you've got the station up there, which the goods train's coming into, and there's two more Siemens Tauruses, but painted in Rennes livery, the Spanish Railways. So that stops now. Whether they're going to go, I don't know. I'm sure I saw them moving earlier on when I was walking around up the top. That's the restaurant and shop and everything up there. So you can. Oh yeah, look, they're going now. The Tauruses. Yes, you've got a big arena there. By the look of it, it's pretty impressive. Sorry, someone just tripped over me. Anyway, oh, there's another goods train in, and there's some more docks here. Look, looks like it's been on fire, that one. And then another very well Spanish place, Santiago de Compostela. Somewhere else I'd really like to go. I'd love to do the pilgrimage trail as well one day. There's smoke over there, looks like a volcano. Oh, and here's our friend, that TGV. Or Thalys, or Eurostar, whatever you want to call it. Malta now, a country I've never been to. I'll just press that button. I think Malta, it hasn't got any railways, it has got old buses. Sometimes they have a bus rally. I think that's when I might as well go to Malta when that's on. So that's something I'd like to do one day. And then we, behind us, you can see the back of Santiago de Compostela. And then, oh look, it looks like they've got some remote control boats, but they're not working today. They're the exact same ones as Beckenscott. It looks like one of them has lost a propeller. At least at Beckenscott. Every time you visit Beckenscott, there's always at least two running. So I'm not sure why, not that I really wanted to have a go. And there's some trains going along over there, look. Of course, at Beckenscott, you've got the Beckenscott Light Railway running between you and the boats, which if you've seen my video or videos, I've done a few there, you'll know that. Oh look, it's on fire. The oil refinery's caught fire and the boat's squirting water to put it out. And it looks like here, helicopters rescuing some people on a boat. It's like it's a boat of illegal immigrants and the helicopter's trying to rescue them. I think we're in Italy now. That looks like Venice over there, and of course this is pretty unmistakable, the Leaning Tower of Pisa. It's quite funny, they've actually modelled those people there on a boat. And yeah, you press a button, see, look, the helicopter is going to rescue them. That's quite cool. I suppose whether you like it or not, it's a current affair in Europe. Yeah, so they've been told they've been there to be. So anyway, look over there. There's some dolphins jumping in and out of the water. Can you just see them? Quite small, but they are there. And now we seem to have found a volcano. Oh, this is Rome by the look of it. We'll have a look at Leaning Tower of Pisa soon. Or perhaps if I press this button I can make the volcano erupt. Oh, and the ground actually shakes. And yeah, look, the volcano's erupting and my legs are really shaking and this feels really, really strange. Yeah, that was strange. We'll do it again, that was fun. Let's make the volcano erupt again. Ground shaking, volcano erupting. That's probably, I think that's Austria over there. Still just like how you get these cameos looking through the trees. I know I keep going on about Newtonian in the background, but you know, there is no other model village quite like that. And I've been to quite a few model villages and I always enjoy visiting. Some aren't so big as this, and you know, but they're all different. And that's why, you know, I'm always going to visit model villages. Here we are, Pisa. And over there, starting to look like Eastern Europe. We'll have a look at that soon. There, look, there's the Leaning Tower of Pisa. And I briefly commented on it, but I said we'd have a proper look. Here's Venice, complete with some boats going round. They always say Birmingham has more canals than Venice, but there's no model of Birmingham here. I think now this is Germany. Germany. And probably one of the most famous landmarks in Germany, in Berlin. Some I haven't actually seen in real life is the Brandenburg Gate. And of course on the other side was the Berlin Wall, and it looks as though they're about to demolish it. Have a look down here. They've just knocked a bit of the Berlin Wall over. And over there, you see that there is a piece of the real Berlin Wall. But on this side, we have the airport again. Look, there's the aeroplanes taxiing around, with the Newtonian in the background. And here, this cathedral, this is Speyer, which I have been to. In fact, it features in one of my previous videos. I went to the Technical Museum in Speyer. On the way, I did have a quick look inside the cathedral, and its towers have got what's called a Rhenish helm, which is quite common in Germany. And I did see a church like that in Liège this morning, but you don't tend to get them in the UK. There are some churches. This is Luxembourg. I'll just set the national anthem off. And then after Luxembourg, we've now arrived in Poland. Poland's another country I could really like to explore more. There's Warsaw, which I've not yet been to. The only place I've been to in Poland, or flown to, is Katowice for its massive interurban tram system. But I'd love to see more of Poland. And what's this? We've got a huge castle coming up here. I think back in Germany, yeah, this is Bonn. And that's Beethoven's house, one of those. There's a lorry there. So this, I'm not sure if this castle's meant to be in Germany or Poland. I'm not so sure. continuing on here. Now Czechia, or Czech Republic. There's the famous tower in Prague. That's about the only thing I have actually seen in Prague. I briefly visited Prague on a steam tour once from Dresden. And this is Slovenia. No, sorry, not Slovenia, Slovakia. I always get annoyed with people getting those two mixed up, and I've gone and done it myself. Slovakia was part of Czechoslovakia. Slovenia used to be part of Yugoslavia. Slovakia is north of Hungary, Slovenia is south of Hungary. Speaking of Hungary, look at this Nagyon Szép model. This is a model of the Széchenyi Baths in Budapest. I've been there myself. I've only been in there once, probably about 10-15 years ago. I remember going in those baths and thinking what an amazing complex it was. And I remember I sat down on a bench and there was a lady next to me, and I thought I'd practice some Hungarian on her, and she turned around and said, I don't speak Hungarian, I'm French. Anyway, so that's Hungary. I think the newer members of the European Union, there's not so many models of, like there was a lot of France, there's a lot less of, that's the only model of Hungary. Next door, Zagreb, there's the church. I have seen that church, but not been inside it. And then there's Slovenia, well, that's Ljubljana, which is, of course, the capital of Slovenia. I have been there. That's known as the Three Bridges in Ljubljana. It's a beautiful little city, Ljubljana. And then over there, I don't want to miss anywhere out. That's Romania over there, country I really like visiting. It's one of my favourite countries. They've only got one building, one model of it. And then this is Bulgaria, another country. I've been to Bulgaria a couple of times, only to Sofia. But this, and somewhere I would like to visit, is the Rila Monastery. So that's in Bulgaria. And then on this side is Austria. Look at that. So that's a pretty impressive building. And we're coming near to the end of the visit. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to go around this bit here. There's a lot of people waiting to watch the rocket take off, which will probably be quite fun. But what I'll do is, while it's quiet, I'll see if I can get ahead of everyone. I've tried to time this visit later on in the day when it's less busy. I'm going to go down here. Just go down here. So there's the rocket, all these people waiting to see it take off. And we get to, I think, Cyprus. I think is that Cyprus? If I'm mistaken, Greece up there. Yeah. The amphitheatre is Cyprus. And then, of course, the Parthenon is Greece. Two other countries I've not yet visited, slightly embarrassingly. I really feel I should have been to Greece. I will one day. And there's the Parthenon, somewhere I'd love to go and visit. I think now we're kind of coming to the end of our visit. What I'm going to do, having taken you on this tour of Europe, I don't think I'll ever do this many countries quite this quickly, and I haven't shown you everything because the video would end up being about 3 hours long if I did. I've shown you just the best bits of things. There's an exhibition here, more static things to read on Europe. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to walk through that. I'm not going to put that in the video. We'll finish with this view of the Parthenon, and then I'm going to go round and stand in the restaurant near where I started, and we can finish with some great views over Europe. So once again, I've come just across this little bit of water, and here we are. I'm going to finish the video here where we can pan around on Europe. And I think it's great. I could always spend time in model villages, always enjoy model villages, no matter how big or small. I just find this enthusiasm to keep going round and round. And now, well, I've got a Eurostar tonight, last one back to London, and I'm torn. Do I go and ride the trams in Brussels, which I really like doing, or do I walk around, spend as much time as I can here till it closes? I'm not sure, but I just really like being here at a model village. It's great to come and see this, and I hope in the future I will visit other model villages. And so please do like, share, comment and subscribe, because that all does really help the channel, and then it helps me to get to more places like this. So thank you very much for watching, and as it's been sort of the running joke in this video, with the Atomian in the background, please do feel free to like, share, comment and subscribe.